So good morning, everybody. Well, before we begin, I want to let you know that the session will be recorded. So I think you know that already. I'm Chris Silva. I'm the president of the Taunton Area Chamber of Commerce. Welcome to the Chamber's quarterly Q&A. We have a great group of attendees on the call today, large and small business owners, funding and nonprofit organizations, folks from Bristol Community College, and our state representative, Carol Doherty, is on the call with us. So thank you all for joining us this morning. We're honored to have back with us again as our featured guests, Mayor Shaunna O'Connell and the city's executive director of the Office of Community and Economic Development, and that is Bill Roth. So a programming note before we get started, everyone will be muted during the call. If you have follow-up questions on any of the topics, please type that into the chat and we will queue those. We have a lot of questions to get through that have been previously submitted, so hopefully we'll be able to get through them all. And then if time allows at the end, we'll see if we have time for any of the additional questions that have come through. So first, and I hope that she's on the call, I'd like to thank the session sponsor, the Lopes Companies, and introduce their treasurer and member of our board, recent chair of our board, Debbie Dutra, to say a few words.
Thank you, Chris. I am here. Good morning, everybody. Yes, I'd just like to say that the Lopes Companies, we are proud to be a sponsor of today's Q&A with Mayor O'Connell. And as Chris said, I'm also on the chamber board, and Mayor, the chamber is so appreciative of everything that you do for the chamber. You're a great supporter and you attend a lot of our events. And I'd personally like to thank the mayor for everything that she's doing for the city. And I'm really looking forward to today's Zoom. So welcome, everybody.
Thank you, Debbie. Now I will turn it over to Mayor O'Connell for some opening remarks.
Oh, thank you. Good morning, everyone. And thank you, Debbie. That was very kind of you. It's easy to do good stuff when you have such great people in a city to work with, like every single person on this call and our community at large. So I really appreciate the opportunity to get together with you all at least every quarter to give updates, to kind of get feedback from you, to hear your questions and what you're interested in, and how we can work together on other projects and really help strengthen our business community, because that's, you know, the heart of our community is our local businesses, and we appreciate everything you do and all the sacrifices you make here in our community to make it a better quality of living for everyone here. So I'm happy to take any questions that you have ready for me, Chris.
Okay, let's get right to it. First question is there any thought being given to creating a community center in the city?
Yes. So we've been talking with Taunton Housing Authority, Colleen Doherty, about a community center. They have obtained some federal grants for a community center. And it's something that I think people in the city have been talking about for a very long time and wanted for a very long time. And it could be a real benefit to, especially, you know, kids in need that really don't have the opportunity to maybe go to an after-school program. And it can really be a focal point of bringing our community together. So we are looking at using some of our ARPA funds to help fund a community center with the Taunton Housing Authority. And it would be on Taunton Housing Authority property because they have federal funds for that. So it has to be on their property. But we've been having a lot of conversation with them. It was something when we held our ARPA community engagement that a lot of people spoke about wanting a community center. So we want to answer that call and that need. And it will be something that, even though it's on Housing Authority property, is really truly a community center. You know, churches will be able to have programs there. Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts will be able to have programs there, local organizations. So that's something that we are working on, and hopefully we will see come to fruition.
Well, that's exciting news. Is the city planning to apply for the Commonwealth Places grant?
You know what, Bill Roth, director of OECD, is on the call with us, so I'm going to throw that one over to him to talk about.
Thank you, Mayor. That grant is primarily geared towards nonprofit groups and not the city directly, and because there's a requirement for crowdfunding, which is private funding, and so currently OECD, we're always available as a resource to help nonprofits and to partner with it. So no nonprofits, and our grant coordinator does reach out to various groups, have any type of project that they've identified with us that we could help partner with. So, but one of the things that we are going to do is, this is a reoccurring grant. And so we're going to be more proactive and looking at reaching out to the different nonprofits like the Downtown Taunton Foundation, Inc., and look at trying to help them and assist them in cultivating a project that we can partner with. But I did want to highlight 5 projects that we are currently have submitted for our letter of interest through the One Stop, which I think is a great application. We're going to look at technical assistance for implementing the MBTA zoning to assist the planning department, since we're an MBTA adjacent community and we're getting ready to, as soon as the train gets there, we have to meet certain densities on housing. So we're going to, and the planning department would need some assistance with that. We've submitted for city branding, and we actually last year participated in the local rapid recovery program, what they call LRRP, and that identified about, and it was primarily for the downtown, and identified a whole host of things to help. And it was all kind of COVID, the LRRP was funded through COVID related money. City branding was one of them. So that's something that we're going to look at moving forward with. Another exciting project that we submitted for is what they call the site preparation grant, and we're looking at Leonard School. It's been vacant, for quite a long time, and what this would allow the city to do is assist us in making it site ready, so then we can send out an RFP for a developer. Would make it much more attractive. Currently, you have a vacant building, has a significant amount of issues, most likely, highly likely a tear down. And if we can get the money to prep the site, tear it down, get it ready, it makes it much more attractive and valuable to send out for an RFP for a developer. So that's one of our kind of a highlighted project that we want to really get going on. Another one that's exciting is what we're going to call the nursing home real estate technical assistance. And this is going to be, would be getting real estate technical assistance to assist the city in identifying what the highest and best use for that site is. Having that third person at that 5,000 point level that aren't as close to it as we are, saying, oh, well, it should be this or this. Brings a great perspective and would help us better figure out what that highest and best use is to market that and redevelop that site. Because as we know, the longer a building stays vacant, the harder and harder it is to renovate it. So, we want to get on that as quickly as possible. And then another one that we're working with, we have a developer for what we call the MM Roads property, which is 12 Porter Street, the old factory there. And we're looking at applying for assistance to do sidewalk and streetscape improvements. It's in conjunction with, if not for, this development coming in, we want to look at basically redoing Porter Street from Cohannet Street, which is a block on the other side of the railroad tracks, all the way to Mason to, better provide for accessibility, sidewalks, and any water, sewer improvements that are necessary, and a new roadway. And that section of that street is in quite poor condition. So it blends in well with looking at doing the infrastructure improvements. So those are 5 of the things that we're kind of that are percolating right now that we've applied for.
Well, thanks, Bill. That's a lot of information there and a lot of exciting work that's going to be coming ahead. What are the city's plans for the Build Back Better funds?
Oh, I'm glad someone asked about that. So what was passed at the federal level was actually the bipartisan infrastructure bill or law. It's called a couple of different things. The Build Back Better is something that's still being addressed. So the bipartisan infrastructure deal is $1.2 trillion. It's an enormous amount of money. It's an enormous bill. And so we've been in touch with Congressman Auchincloss's office to kind of get a better understanding of how we access those funds. And they've been really great to work with. And that those funds really pertain to roads and bridges, water, broadband, airports, transportation, environmental issues. And there's funding available directly through federal grant programs, and there'll also be funding available through existing state programs. So there'll be kind of two tracks where we can access that money. So initially, the information we're getting from Auchincloss's office is how to apply directly to these federal programs. So we need a lot more information and guidelines from the state and federal government on the programs that'll be available. And on our end, we are making sure that we've got some shovel-ready projects to go, and we're accessing in a very strategic way everything that's available to us. So we are creating a committee here internally in the city so we can meet regularly, figure out what grants that we'll be applying for. I'm sure we'll be working closely with Representative Doherty to understand how we access state funds and what is available to us on that end. But this is going to be, a process over time to access a lot of these funds. Some of them are going to be coming up in the next quarter and this year, but it's a lot of money. And I think it's going to be spread out over several years. But we here in the city are looking at a strategic plan on how do we access that money, and there's different buckets of money available right now, including our ARPA funds. So how do we strategically use those in the best way possible to leverage the money we have, leverage grants that are available, and get the most bang for our buck, I guess, and do the best, the best projects that benefit our community, our residents, our businesses.
Thank you very much for that. And actually, it segues nicely. The next question was about the ARPA funds. What's happening with the funds that have been received?
Yeah, so just a quick recap. The city received about 30 million in ARPA funding. So that's 20 million from the federal government, 10 million from the county. We currently have about 10 million from the federal government ARPA funds. I'm not sure when the other 10 million will be coming our way or we'll be able to access it. The 10 million from the county, they are distributing that in quarter increments, so that we're only able to access a quarter of that money in a certain time period. So that creates a little bit of a challenge for us if we have a $6 million project we want to do, but we can only access $2 million or $2.5 million. But we'll work with that. So we did do a public engagement community forum. We also did a survey so that we could really hear from people on what their priorities were for our ARPA funding. And again, just like with the infrastructure funding, we're trying to be very strategic and coordinate with all the monies that are available, grants that are available, so that we leverage the most money possible to get our projects done. We've expended about $700,000 so far, and that has been mainly on programs for our youth, mental health support for our youth, and human services programs. We've also, and I think we'll probably talk about this later, but created step-up grants for our businesses. And we're looking to create a possible facade program for our local businesses. So we really want to, be creative and diverse in how we spend that money. So we're touching all segments of our community and making a positive change in very different ways. And as I said earlier, part of that we will also be using, I believe, on a youth center. So we don't have we have a lot of ideas. We have a lot of projects ready to go where we're working on how we put our plans together. Some people said, geez, why haven't you come out with this complete plan on how you're going to use $20 million? We think it's a smarter way to do it, to be more strategic, more careful, and take our time in how we spend that money and how we save taxpayers' money, how we avoid future expense, and how we do things that will actually make the city money as well.
Yeah, that makes sense. Actually, the Step Up grant is one of the questions. If we could, might as well get to that right now. I feel like I could talk about the Step Up grant because we hosted that webinar. But if you or Bill want to tell us more about that, that'd be great.
Yeah, sure. I'll just say a few words and I'll throw it over to Bill as well. His office was really creative and innovative in coming up with the Step Up grant, which we've actually expanded with our ARPA funds. So again, we want to make sure we're also concentrating on our local small businesses and the business community and trying to help you in as many creative ways as possible. Taunton actually recently received an award from the Mass Municipal Association for that program, recognizing its innovation and creativity. So we're very proud about that. And I know we really thank the chamber in kind of working with us to help get the word out about this grant, because we want as many people to apply as possible so that we can help them. And I think I'll just let Bill touch real quick on the details of the program and how you apply for it.
Yeah, this is probably one of my favorite things. One of the most impactful projects in my career that we created this program. In our office, we're very excited. Briefly, and most people know, it's the Step Up is for, to help with purchase of digital point of sale systems, website design, logo graphic design, and social media setup and coaching. And I just checked with my grant coordinator. We have, it's on a rolling basis. We brought it out at the beginning of the year. We have 23 current applications that we're evaluating. And well over half of those are in one form of contract or another, working with our vendors on, the 4 various items. And it is on our website. There are some eligibility requirements. Out of the 23, there's only been 2 or 3 that didn't qualify. You must be a for-profit business, 10 or fewer employees, full-time employees. You must have a physical location. And you must be registered either with the city clerk or the state secretary of state. And then the rest is, providing us the information and explaining the impact that COVID-19 had on you. It's just on a rolling basis. And then as we get further and, our first, every good program evolves. The first time we rolled this out with the urban agenda, we didn't have the logo graphic design. And after we evaluated the program with the first grant, we realized that was an integral piece. And we're finding that with the website design is becoming very popular. So, but please look on our website. The application is fairly simple and it's on a rolling basis, and we look forward to helping as many businesses as we can.
Thanks, Bill. And we're excited about that one too. And so we might as well on the same topic, the facade program that you mentioned, Mayor. Is there any more that you can tell us about that?
Yes. So, the city used to have a facade program years ago that just for various reasons couldn't be really effective. So that's something that's been a real priority for me coming into office, is a facade program for downtown, and actually other areas of the city as well. I think it makes a huge difference when you look and everything looks kind of consistent and beautiful and pretty. So I talked with Bill Roth about, how can we make up some kind of facade program. So that's another use of our ARPA funds that we're looking at. And that will take, a little bit of time to create and roll out. But Bill's office is working on it right now. And that's something that I'm super, super excited about to help businesses with downtown, because I know it's an expense that, some small businesses just cannot make, but would be more than willing to if they just had a little bit of help. So one of our efforts, and we feel like these are kind of, simple things that aren't extremely costly, but can really just take some of the pressure off of our local businesses. So Bill, if you want to give any quick update on where we are with that.
Yep. Currently, I've reached out to several planning consultants. We are in the process, my staff and I are in the process of writing a request for proposal for some consulting services. We're hoping to have, we have to register, we have to submit that to the central register due to the cost. The planning consultant will help us with program design and specifics on applications and cost share and those sorts of things, and bring a wealth of knowledge. And then the biggest important thing is coming up with design guidelines. So we're looking at specific in our RFP design guidelines for the downtown, because there are some historic districts, so we have to be sensitive to the historic district. And then we're also looking at design guidelines for Whittington and the Ware. Really kind of focusing on our two, our other two commercial nodes. Don't know what the program design looks like because we haven't had the consultant. My goal is to get that out on the street by the end of the month. Hopefully have a consultant on board, within, a month after that. And then I've been told that it's anywhere between a 3 to 5 month process. And there'll be some public engagement, and we will really rely on, we'll reach out because, we want to reach out to the businesses. So we'll reach out to the chamber and the bid and the various folks to participate in helping us, formulate these design guidelines, because you guys are the businesses and own them. So that's kind of the planning process. And then once that, is done, then we will look at, implementing that. So we're moving forward, hopefully having the, advertisement by the end of the month for the planning consultant, and then get that on board. And it's a 3 to 5 month process. I'm hoping 3 months, but I've been told a range. So that's where we are.
Thanks, Bill. I can say that, the paving and the sidewalks on Ware Street is a huge improvement already. So I'm sure this will even add to that. Thank you for that.
That was a grant partnership, by the way, Chris. We received a grant to do to supplement well over half of the cost of that.
Wow,
So
that's
it's,
fantastic.
if you can get 50 cents on the dollar, I know the mayor will take that every day.
It's a good deal. Next question is, I've seen there's been discussion about a regional 911 system. Can you give an update on that?
Yes. So just to give a little background on that, I think a lot of people know that in 2016, there was a tragedy here in Taunton. And there was a report produced as a result of that regarding our emergency services system. It was called the Ryan Report because Ryan Strategies produced the report. And in that report, it really detailed our current system, the issues with it, and the corrections that needed to be made. And most of the recommendations were temporary, like, okay, do this now, but work on this larger plan for the future. A lot of the temporary recommendations were not implemented. Some were, and that's great, but they're still in place as temporary since 2016. And the really overarching recommendation in that report was that the underlying system as a whole had to be abandoned and replaced. And we are now 6 years later, and we still have that same system. The men and women who work in our 911 call center work extremely hard. They're very good at their jobs, and we appreciate them being there every single day to safeguard our city and help people. Our job is to ensure a 21st century state-of-the-art emergency response system for our entire community. So we are exploring joining what's called SEMREC. It's Southeastern Massachusetts Regional Emergency Call Center. And there's a lot of benefits associated with joining a regional center. And State 911, which kind of oversees all of the 911 call centers and regional centers, is really moving toward regionalization. There are many states that have just a few. California, I think, has just a handful in that huge state, just a handful of regional call centers for the whole entire state. Rhode Island, I think, has one, possibly two. So our state is moving toward regionalization, and so is the nation, really. For us, it would mean putting 9 firefighters and 8 police officers back onto the street, because that's who takes our calls right now. And the SEMREC Center, which is located in Foxborough, it is an amazing gold standard, top-notch facility, state-of-the-art equipment. The staff there choose this profession, and they have intensive ongoing training. They are trained to handle all calls that come in, which is either for fire, police, or emergency medical services. So right now we have, if a call comes in, fire answers it, police are sitting next to them, they're in the same room. And if you're calling for police, the firefighter will put you on hold and transfer you to the guy sitting next to him. And if you're calling for medical, you get transferred to Brewster Ambulance, and their call center is located in Brockton. So calls are already being transferred. Whereas at SEMREC, every single person is trained to handle every call. Everyone is in the same room, so it's improved communications, it's improved response times. One thing that is really important, and that was recommended in the 2016 report, is that there be audits on the calls to ensure, the quality and identify any issues that, before they become disasters or, something that's potentially dangerous. Every day at SEMREC, the calls are audited. So there's a lot of benefits for us joining SEMREC. And there's also challenges to overcome, and we understand that. So, and location is one of them. And I just want to address that for a minute, because I think that's kind of the first thing that people think about is, gee, this facility is located in Foxborough. How are we going to do that? But that happens, all over the state and all over the country, where call centers are not located in that exact community. And there are, there are ways to deal with this. There are professionals working there. They've become very familiar with your community. They will come here and, ride around our community, get a better understanding of it. So those are really things that can be addressed. And if you think about it, calls right now are actually, emergency medical calls are being transferred out of Taunton anyway to someone who is not in Taunton. So we've been working with State 911, with the Office of Public Safety and Security at the state level, with SEMREC, with the Taunton Police Department and Fire Department on this, to just start moving forward. We've done some study. We are doing further study. We know we have further study to conduct, further information to get, more questions to answer. And this is all part of the process to ensure that it is a good fit. So this isn't an easy thing to do. It's a big change, and we really want to make sure we're communicating well to people. But it's a hard thing to do, and I think that's one of the reasons it's never been done. It's a real challenge, but it's a challenge that we need to take on. It's something that our community deserves to be explored. And along with a lot of the other things we're doing with solid waste, with changes to city governance and structure, with the charter, a lot of longstanding issues that we are working very hard to address, to improve the quality of life for everyone here in our city. And I just have to say, a great team here at City Hall that works on these things, really hard workers, and so many partners out in the community and at the state as well. I know Mass Development is on here. They're a great partner to Taunton in all of our communities. Bristol Community College brings back so much here to Taunton. So that's where we are right now. We're moving along in the process to get this done. And we're going to be working on a video, an informational video that you should probably be seeing next week on our local cable channel to get even more information out to people. And you know, we're happy to, if people have questions, to email us. We really want to answer people's questions, understand what people's concerns are.
Thank you for addressing that, because I know that's been on a lot of folks' minds. So I appreciate you telling us all of that important information. Something else that I've seen a lot of talk about out there is the Bristol Plymouth School construction project. The question here is, that seems to have a large financial impact on Taunton. What are your thoughts on that?
It does. It's, I mean, I think everybody's familiar with BP. How many people went to BP there on this call? It's a great school. And so they are looking to build a completely brand new school. They're going to knock down the existing school and build a new one on that property. The total project is a little over $305 million. The school building authority will pay a maximum of $125 million. So that's about 40% of $305 million. So that leaves the district share at about $180 million. And the district members are all the towns that send children to the school. Taunton is the largest district member with the most children going there. So Taunton's share would be approximately $120 million of that 180. So there's been a process. There's been some public forums. There is a vote. So the voters have to approve the project and the funding. So there's a vote district-wide in every community, meaning, you know, Taunton, Rainham, Rehoboth, all the communities that belong. That vote is on March 5th, which is a Saturday, from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. And you vote at your regular polling stations. And that would be a vote to approve the project and approve the expense of $305 million. However, that there has to be a follow-up vote. So should that vote pass, and that would be the one town, let me put it this way, one town cannot vote against it and hold up the whole project. It's a cumulative of all the votes counted. And if it's over 51%, it passes, you know, otherwise it doesn't. So that's what happens on March 5th. And then if that passes on March 5th, then our community would need to vote to have a debt exclusion to pay for the project. So that would happen, you know, sometime thereafter. And that would have an impact on property taxes for everyone, for commercial, for residential, anyone that owns property in the city. So we are just really trying to get information out to people, let them know the facts and the numbers, and people can decide for themselves whether they support the project. You know, Bristol Plymouth is an excellent school. Vocational schools are very important. And, you know, people themselves have to weigh whether they think, you know, a $305 million project is reasonable and they want to vote for it or not. And we will find that out on March 5th. But in the meantime, it's our job just to get people information and let them make the decision themselves.
Thank you. You touched on this briefly when you mentioned earlier the Biosolids project. This is the next question. What is happening with the Biosolids project at the Taunton landfill?
The Biosolids project. So that is that's another you know, another issue we're addressing. So, you know, Taunton, as you know, the landfill closed. Our costs are increasing for solid waste, and biosolids. And, we need to come up with solutions for these challenges that we face. One of the solutions for biosolids, and another name for that is sludge, is a proposed gasification facility that would be located at the Taunton landfill. And this may provide a solution to what is a very long-standing issue that has got to be addressed. Taunton has about 30 tons of sludge a day that we need to dispose of. Right now, it is shipped to another state and put in a landfill, I believe in Connecticut, which is not very environmentally friendly at all. So we've got this possible project that is a possible solution that could be located right here in Taunton. The company right now is called Aries. They are in the process of filing MEPA, which is the Mass Environmental Policy Act office. And that provides opportunity for the public to review the project, the potential environmental impacts, and requires further study of environmental impacts. So it's a process. It's overseen very closely by the Mass Department of Environmental Protection and the EPA. And every step of the way they're involved. What our philosophy is let's get the information. So the experts at the state and federal level there's certain studies that have to be performed. We want to hear from them. We want to see the data and the reports and the science and the information. I mean, I know, the last 2 years we've been hearing everybody say, follow the data, follow the science. That's what we want to do in this case. And a lot of people, including people in DEP and EPA, are hopeful that this is a solution to our problem. There's going to be very shortly a public forum for people, here in our city to go and get information, ask questions, be very interactive. We've tried very hard to make information available, to be transparent about this whole entire project. There's information on our website, right on our homepage about this. So we're going along, we're listening to the information. We want to get the reports, we want to get the data, we want to understand if it's environmentally safe. And if it is, that is a great thing for Taunton, if this is a viable project and we can do this, because the cost for us to dispose of sludge is going to go up substantially next year. And that's another cost that is, the city and the taxpayers are going to have to absorb. This Aries project will save us a ton of money if it is a viable project, and we want to see if it is. So we are asking people to keep an open mind. I know there's a certain segment of the population that has already made up their mind and said, no, this isn't a good project. That is not based on fact. That is based on opinion and just personal priorities. We are looking at facts and science and data to make the best decision for our community. And what is our topmost priority is the safety of our community and the environment.
Thank you. Thank you for that update. I think we'll be talking about this for a little bit longer. What is the progress on the City of Taunton Charter?
The charter, another initiative that's been a long time coming. So we, when we came in, we knew that, the charter has been talked about for many, many years. And we were very grateful that the Hoy administration had started some work on the charter themselves. So we picked that up and continued and put an advisory committee together to work on the charter. It was a very diverse committee. They did a lot of work, put in many hours in coming up with the updates that our charter has needed since about 1909. And this is an effort to really bring our city government into the 21st century. It provides more oversight, more transparency, more power to the people, really. And so we went through the process, it passed through council. And the next process it has to go through is it has to pass through the legislature. The governor has to sign it, and then it has to come back to the city and the voters get to vote on it. And that's what we want to see happen. We want to see the voters be able to vote on passing this charter and updating our new charter. Right now, we sent it to the legislature in early September. We are still waiting for it to be filed. And so it's been about 6 months now, and we hope that that is going to be happening soon. It would be filed in the Senate first and passed in the Senate and then move over to the House. But this is something that we want to see happen, you know, in the next several months, because we do not want all the work that people have done to be for naught. And there's really no reason why it cannot happen in the next several months. So, you know, on our end, we've been working, asking for updates, and trying to work with the Senate and the Senator's office to get this moving. And I think it's another example of something it's a really big project. It's really hard to do, but it's really important for our city. And so we are willing to take that on and do the hard work, because it's going to make, again, for better governance, better oversight, more transparency, and better government operations for our community.
Thank you for that update on that. The next question is, what is the procurement office?
We're very excited about the procurement office. So we've been really, you know, when we came in, we really took a hard look at the structure of the city government and recommendations that have been made over many years, and kind of put together a strategic plan on how we start implementing these recommendations, you know, starting with the charter, with creating an office of financial management, our CFO position, and creating an office of procurement. So that's you know, one of the steps that we've taken in really improving, you know, our city government operations, our oversight and accountability. Taunton is an outlier in Massachusetts, in a city our size, not having an office of procurement, because it really protects taxpayers' money and ensures the most efficient and effective use of taxpayer money. An office of procurement will help provide purchasing power throughout the city, oversight on spending and also inventory, and oversight and consistency of contracts, and putting our contracts all in one place. You know, things are a little bifurcated and siloed right now, and we're trying to really put things that make sense under one umbrella, so that there's leadership at the top, and everybody's working together for the same effect, and one hand knows what the other is doing. And the procurement office is one of the steps that we've taken to put those things in place. So that's in process right now, and it's actually the position is posted on our city website right now. We're collecting applications, and we'll be doing interviews hopefully in the next couple of weeks, and really looking forward to filling that position as well. Our CFO started in the beginning of January. He's been here, I think, maybe 9 weeks or so, and he has just been doing an amazing job, really instituting sound fiscal and financial practices that don't currently exist in the city, and that we really should have. So we are going to be seeing a lot of savings with our CFO here as well. And then the procurement office will only add to those savings. So we're really looking, you know, of course, to always ensure the highest level of stewardship over your taxpayer money, to make sure that we provide the highest level of services to everyone in our city.
Thank you. We have a few more questions and hopefully we will get to them while the time we have allotted here. What is going on with the Silver City Business Park?
Bill Roth, do you want to take on that one?
Yes, I can take
What's
on
going
that,
on?
Mayor. As everyone knows, the former mall was demolished. The developer has an approval for just over 1 million square feet of distribution warehouse. And it's within 4 buildings is the current site plan. In talking with the developer, they are marketing the site, and they are choosing in this climate not to build any spec buildings. So what they're looking at doing is, as soon as they get a tenant for a ground lease, then they will implement whatever the site plan or the building. As in talking with them, they said if they could get one tenant for all of it, they'll modify the site plan and do whatever is needed. But essentially, they're not going to be building spec, is my understanding, and that they are waiting. As soon as they have a ground lease signed, they will then be implementing their site plan review and building.
Yeah, and I'll just add to that. We're really pleased at the development that's going on. That is going to increase our tax base and also create many good paying jobs here in the city of Taunton. So, a lot of expansion happening, a lot of new businesses opening, and something we're really thrilled about. We have so many, developers and investors interested in the city of Taunton, and, they see its potential and the benefits of either opening or moving their businesses here. And we have been working very hard to personally work with developers and businesses to make sure that they feel welcome here in Taunton and that we are real partners in creating more economic development here in Taunton.
Thank you. Is there an update on the Taunton Airport Administration Building?
Yes, the Taunton Airport Administration Building is moving along well. There have been some delays, as with many projects due to COVID. So it is a little bit behind schedule, but we're thrilled, and you can find pictures on Facebook and see the progress that it's making. The building is going up. And just as a reminder, that is a project that is 95% federally funded, federal and state. And we were very pleased to be able to work with Mass DOT and Aeronautics to get that project up and moving. When we came in, it was kind of on life support. So our team worked really hard to work with the state to, make sure that we were going to have that project and that it was going to go forward. And that's, something development in East Taunton is something that we also want to concentrate on. And an airport that is, 21st century building with all the technology is really going to give a boost to that area. It's going to create more economic development, and it's going to be more of a community airport where the community will feel like they really have a place there. There's going to be a restaurant. I believe there's going to be a playground. We want to look at doing, some educational services and really bringing the community into the airport and making much better use of it, because it's such a great resource that we have here in Taunton.
Thank you for that update. Almost done, almost to the end of our questions, about 4 or 5 to go. I heard there's a new Taunton Redevelopment Authority. What can you tell us about that?
Yes, there is. So the Taunton Redevelopment Authority, I'm gonna have Bill talk about this, but that was something else that we talked about before coming into office that was important to help with economic development here in our city. So we're really trying to use all sorts of different tools, all the tools in our toolbox, put more tools in the toolbox to help with economic development, and reestablishing the Taunton Redevelopment Authority is one of those tools. So it's been kind of stagnant for many years, and we know that it's a great resource and very valuable in enabling us to further economic development and to access other resources and grants and tools available to us for economic development. It is a little bit of a process, like everything is. Sometimes you come in you have all these initiatives that you want to get done, and you do find out that it's a longer process than you hope for, but we are really moving forward on a lot of different fronts here, and the Taunton Redevelopment Authority is one of them. And I think Bill can just take a quick moment to give a brief update on that.
Yeah, the redevelopment authority, there's it's a 5-member board. 4 are appointed. There's 4 current members, and I think their mayor is working on filling the 5th position. They're meeting. They've decided to start meeting monthly, and one of the biggest initiatives, the biggest power for is if a redevelopment authority can have an urban renewal plan within an area. The redevelopment authority back in the 70s, 80s, and 90s had about 3 to 4 different plans within the downtown, and the fruits of their labor. You can see it's have a lot of development and redevelopment has occurred. We were fortunate, my office, to receive the city was to receive a grant that we are to do an urban renewal plan in Whittington. And so that actually, that RFP it's been submitted to the Central Register, and next Wednesday, the 16th, it will be available. And that's about a 12 to 15 month process. But once that plan is enabled, it allows the redevelopment authority great latitude to look at assisting in redeveloping that area. In particular, I mean, the biggest carrot in Whittington is Whittington Mills. And then there's Pool Silver assisting Reed and Barton, and redevelopment of the Leonard School. So these are all things that we're looking at and actively going. So there'll be a large urban renewal process for this plan, and that's the biggest key thing that we're really focusing and concentrating on. And then any of the other and any other small initiatives or other initiatives that the redevelopment authority, they're eager and active and willing to go. Actually, one of our members is on this call right now.
Thanks, Bill. What is the work of the Election Commission?
The Election Commission, that's another office we created last year, I believe. So again, that was kind of a longstanding issue here in Taunton. There was a bifurcated election system here where we had the Registrar of Voters office and the clerk's office handling different tasks having to do with elections. And for many years, it has been a recommendation to create one office called an elections division or an elections office. So we moved all of the election tasks that were in the clerk's office over into the new elections office. And that it provides, more consistency, again, more oversight. It's just better government operations, and we're better able to serve the people of Taunton in what is one of the most important things we do, and that is ensuring, transparent, fair, accessible, open elections and election process. And that has gone very well. Our elections director, Pam Manconi, was hired and has done an excellent job at putting that office together, has already run her first elections. And we also put in place an elections commission, which has 4 commissioners on it that work with the elections office. So that was another, kind of fix to government operations that we did early on when we came into office.
Thank you for that. I think this next question is, a lot of folks are wondering if there's any movement on the casino.
Well, yes, coincidentally enough, we're going to be meeting with the tribe this week. So what has happened is the government has withdrawn their appeal or their objection that was instituted by the prior administration. And really, I think, you know, the tribe has to make some decisions on how they're going to proceed. And we, of course, want to be involved in those conversations and have an understanding of how they want to proceed and what they're looking at. So, you know, at this time, we're having conversations with them, trying to understand what their plans are and how they plan on moving forward.
Okay, well, stay tuned. Almost done here. I think we might get through all the questions. Do you think the mask mandate at the schools should be lifted?
I absolutely think the mask mandate should be lifted. You know, our kids have been in masks for 2 years. I mean, just think about that, 2 years. And it has, we know, a lot of damaging effects on our kids, especially our younger kids. And, you know, having a 5-year-old or a 6-year-old wear a mask every day in school, yeah, I think is a lot to ask of young kids. And, you know, in their development and in the way they perceive things and communicate and understand has been a huge hindrance. And I don't know if you guys have been watching the news, but I know that there was supposed to be an announcement today on the mask mandate. So I just looked it up and it looks like the mask mandate is going to be lifted starting February 28th. I say it can't come soon enough, that our kids need to be in school and be more normalized. And if you think about it, that's probably pretty much the only place they wear masks right now. So we're looking forward to no more masks in school for our kids.
Thank you for the breaking news also. Last question. Is the city considering trying to lower commercial property taxes to lure more businesses to Taunton?
As probably a lot of people know, I'm not sure if everyone knows, the tax rate is set once a year, and that's, you know, by the city council. So the executive branch cannot just change rates at any time. And, you know, the rates and the valuation are set by the market. And as everyone knows, the market has been just, you know, booming, and valuations been increasing. And the city of Taunton, well, every community is required by the Department of Revenue to be between 95% and 110% of fair market value. Taunton is currently at about 96 to 97%, so we're still a little bit low. One thing we try to look at is what other kind of like tools and incentives can we give to businesses to help ease, you know, other financial burdens that they have. We do have tax incentive programs, we have grants and grant programs, technical assistance. So those are the kind of things that we can look at. And we did look at, you know, the commercial rates in the area. So they kind of run the gamut, but Taunton was in line with a lot of greater Taunton area communities. And I think people also need to look at some of the benefits of being in a bigger city like Taunton, all the services that we provide, the low energy rates that we have. I think that there could be, you know, the council could look at a small increase in taxes to kind of even that out a little bit. It's a challenging thing for them to do, because if commercial and business rates go down, residential rates go up. So you really have to look at how do you balance that when you're looking at setting the tax rate.
That makes sense. Wow, look at that, 11 o'clock. This is perfectly timed. I do want to thank you, Mayor O'Connell and Bill, for a very informative hour, and our guests for attending today. Hope you'll join us on February 17th for our fun and informal chamber chat with trivia and prizes. And also, please save the date. Our annual legislative update will be on March 1st. So everyone can unmute yourselves if you want to say thank you and goodbye and hello and anything you'd like. Thank you again for joining us. Enjoy this beautiful sunny day.
Thank you, Chris, and thank you everyone for taking the time with me this morning. I really appreciate your time.
Yeah, it's great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Good job, Chris.
Thank you.
Here, everyone.